Hello there, I'm Robert.
I'm Vanessa.
And I'm Travis.
And we are late to the party, and it is our final marvelous edition of
Better Late Than Never.
And it's a big one. This is the tentpole. This is where it all led up to that first epic battle.
To the end of Phase 1.
Avengers. Joss Whedon came out, created his own epic blockbuster with all of the characters that we started
I got
loving.
goosebumps just talking about it.
I know, right?
It was so good.
All right. So quickly, this movie was released May 4th, 2012. Budget
May
of
the
$220 million. Made a merely $1.519 billion in the box
Just a
office.
small tad.
Directed by Joss Whedon, of course.
Joss.
Alan Silvestri composed the music, which is one of my favorite soundtracks. It is amazing. The film's development began way before Marvel's Studios received a loan from the Merrill Lynch that I talked about before.
Right.
So they're developing it before then. It was supposed to go into this. But with the success of the Iron Man in May 2008, Marvel announced that it would be doing this Avengers movie. So they knew they wanted to do it and they just had to get to it to do it.
Right.
When they hired Joss Whedon, they had a script in play. Joss Whedon read it and said, yeah, this is horrible. I don't like it at all. I'm scrapping it. I'm going to write it from the beginning. And rewrote the whole thing. And he did it like in a weekend, too. So he did it very quickly, and clearly we've seen the results.
You're passionate about it, man. It just falls out of your brain.
Yeah.
True, because he was a fan of these characters.
Right.
He knew these characters already.
He already had this movie in his head growing up.
Yeah. So when they were making this film, around October-ish, Disney decided to buy Marvel. And since Paramount has been in production with Marvel and doing it all the time, Paramount had a big stake at this. So they made a deal that Disney would pay Paramount at least $115 million for the worldwide distribution rights, just to distribute the movie, which is weird that you have to pay to get it out to the world. So with that happening, the deal was also allowed for Paramount to continue to collect 8% at the box office, and that they would own the TV rights to this film. And of course, they get their name plastered on
everything.
On everything, yes, on all production, everything. It was Paramount, not Disney. But even though Disney technically owned it when this movie was released,
of course.
So this movie, The Avengers, stars everybody we've seen, including Edward Norton, who was replaced.
Right.
By Mark Ruffalo.
Amazingly by Mark Ruffalo.
Amazingly, and there's drama behind that, but we won't get into it.
Of course.
So, without further ado, let's watch the trailer to this world phenomenon.
The Avengers.
Avengers.
You were made to be ruled.
Yes, and I will kneel.
I'm sure you will.
Yes.
Gross.
Will be every
I would.
himself.
He's Loki. Come on. Amazing shot, practical effects. I love it all.
Who the hell is this guy? All right, everyone.
So good.
There was an idea to bring together a group
Yes.
of remarkable people. So when we need
That stand.
That punching him in the bag, that was from
the battle
Yep.
the other movie.
that we never could. Gentlemen, what are you prepared to do?
They're on screen together.
No offense, but I don't play well with others. Big man in a suit of armor. Take that away. What are you?
Playboy philanthropist.
Billionaire playboy
Bi-
philanthropist.
I have that on a t-shirt. Interesting music choice.
Because Transformers is out and was all about
Right.
that.
If we can't protect the Earth,
Damn well avenge it.
damn sure we'll avenge it.
Ending it with Tony.
Yep.
Dr. Banner, your work is unparalleled, and I'm a huge fan of the way you lose control and turn into an enormous green rage monster.
Yes! We got the shots of Hulk!
And we got the shots of all of them together. I just remember seeing that trailer and I just, oh my, the fact that they're all together sharing the screen, whether it's sub characters or big characters from Black Widow and Hawkeye all the way up to Iron Man. And then the fact that we're getting Hulk in there too, because Hulk was kind of the bastard child when it comes to the MCU, where we didn't really get a good run with him. It didn't really work very well, but I am so glad that they embraced it, and it did end up eventually bringing characters from Hulk to make it feel like it's a part of the entire show.
Yeah.
And getting Mark Ruffalo, who I loved Ruffalo as Banner, an amazing job, especially that bromance that developed in this movie between Tony and Bruce.
I will say that I did not care for the music that they used in the trailer. It just
I agree.
very interesting that they used that.
Very
for
90s, early 2000s.
It did feel very 90s and early
Yeah.
2000s to use that song. It kind of reminded me of... I feel like they used that song in that one movie with Patricia Arquette where she gets the Stigmata. It reminds for some reason it reminds me of that movie.
End of Days or
like in that
Chain Reaction.
that time era of that
Chill Factor.
But
It's funny because that's what I thought too.
I mean,
Cuba.
Other than that, this like going in. I remember we went to go see it opening night. It was like at 7 o'clock or something like that, and it was like a full house. We were just
Sold
chilling.
out show.
Yeah, we were
Cheering,
just there cheering, like
celebrating.
laughter. That guy's playing Galaga, and everybody knows it. Like there were so many good comedic points in this movie too that it didn't feel like it was like too much.
Right, it didn't feel like they forced it all in together to have a movie.
And we also lost Coulson in this one too.
Yes.
I mean, it really brought the heart when it comes to the loss of getting them all together.
Twist that they would kill a character. I was not expecting that to happen.
Especially
Very
Coulson,
twisty.
and that was very like heart wrenching too. I was like,
He was the thread. He was
Yes.
the thread that brought them all together, at least in terms
Damn
of the
you,
films.
Loki.
And then, of course, Loki, it made him even more of an a-hole because he killed
Yes.
Coulson. Coulson being the one that ended up being, the one that brought him together through his death. And then, of course, Nick Fury manipulating all the Avengers by utilizing it
And those
to
cards
get
were in
them to
his
come
locker.
together. Yeah. Like, it just shows the level that he needed to do. He had to do what needed to be done to get them to go and do what they needed to do. And that's join up, be a team, and help stop Loki.
yeah, and this even solidifies Loki as a villain as well. And I mean, he was the main villain for this, and he took on this big role against all of these characters, and yet he still shined on his own as Loki in this movie to the point where like. They were gonna kill him off in Thor: The Dark World, but then they were like, nah, and then they keep him around. So it was just so good.
Again, this ensemble cast, they all just work together. Just when the Captain America meets him for the first time, and these people are bowing, and he's talking about World War II. I knew a guy who made people bow before.
That was such a great moment too with Captain America and Loki.
The last
where
time
he
that I
makes
saw
that
someone
reference.
standing above everybody else, we did not see eye to eye or something like that. Yeah.
Like, so well done. It just fits so well with where he came from and where they were.
I mean, even that whole scene, though, too, with him going in, doing his thing, and then you have Natasha and Hawkeye doing their thing in the Queen Jet.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you hear over the radio AC/DC, and right away you already know Iron Man.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
you do get those conflicts too within the heroes with like Thor and Iron Man and Cap all in the forest as well. It gave you like they fought. Thor ended up fighting Hulk as well, and so did Natasha. She ended up fighting Hulk in a way on the ship, so on the helicarrier. So you had these moments of conflict where you didn't have to do a movie all about them fighting. It was them fighting each other, and it organically felt right that they were fighting each other.
And it wasn't like, your mom's name is Martha?
Yeah, right? Like,
we're
wasn't...
best friends now!
It was a scuffle, It was
I love that movie still, but nonetheless.
something that kind of made sense in the moment of them fighting each other, especially because they didn't know who they were.
Right, go get your suit.
Right.
Well,
And I love
crash. Go get your suit.
Some of
Yeah.
the scenes too as like characteristics for these characters as well. I love the scene where you see Thor come for the first time, grab Loki, leave. Iron Man goes after him, and then you have Natasha, but like, you should sit this one out, Cap. They're practically like gods, and he's like, man, there's only one God, and I don't think he dresses like that. So you see that he still has that innocence of being like, from that time period that he is all American, Captain America, and then going in and being like, stop.
True, because this is before he found out that Hydra was infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. and
Right.
before all that, so he didn't have that big character change just
Right.
yet.
I understood that. I understood that
I
reference.
understood that reference. I love it too.
Amazing, quotable. The music, of course, getting Alan Silvestri, who ended up doing
Yes,
Captain America, and he ended up again coining a theme for the
Avengers
Avengers
theme.
to
Yeah.
where it was lacking. Danny Elfman did utilize a little bit of it in the second Avengers, but not Brian Tyler, which is weird because
They were both together, but yeah.
But you have that theme that ended up coming back, and now it's the iconic mark for Avengers, especially in the trailers. But you get in those moments, those fight scenes, the camera work from going from one to the
that
other.
was just beautiful.
Beautiful.
It was great
Especially
choice.
during the fight scenes, and I love it when they were like integrating where they showed different characters at what they're doing. Like they would pan from the ground all the way up to where Hawkeye is doing his thing. They're talking to each other, and it's great. Like the camera work,
Right.
it was great.
And
in that
utilizing
scene.
minor characters as well from standalone movies. Like you got Dr. Selwig in there, who was a huge part of Avengers, partly because he's taken over, but yet he's the connective tissue from Thor, bringing him in. And of course, you've got Iron Man rocking it with freaking Pepper Potts too, like doing her whole thing with him. It's kind of giving you that identity of what's
Having
going
the
on with
12%
Iron Man.
of a moment.
Right. It's like, what's going on with them after Iron Man? Where are we with Pepper Potts and Tony? Like, you get a little of it, a little continuation of these standalone,
And
but
especially
together.
so much so too that they even took a pivotal point in this movie as well with Hulk and Loki, and they brought it over to Thor Ragnarok at the point where Thor is now the one that happened, and then he's like, see, that's how that feels,
Yeah.
because it happened to
that's
Loki at first.
Callbacks.
Yes.
And it definitely feels like a universe that is just well thought out and put together.
My absolutely favorite shot of this movie, though, is at the very end where he's going like this, and they all are pointing their stuff at him, like all are looking down.
The hero shot?
The hero shot of all
Yeah.
of them, like looking at him.
Now, I have to ask this question. Now that we are now where we're at after seeing Captain Marvel, did you ever wonder that question? Why didn't he press the button back then?
Yeah, I mean, because they didn't think of it yet. in the
Right.
storyline.
But Marvel doing what they do and closing those gaps and
Right.
closing those holes.
But I think that, in a way, Nick Fury was like a strategic type person.
Right.
And even at the time with the Captain Marvel, with the Avengers initiative and everything, I think
Right.
that he wanted to kind of stick with characters now.
Right.
And she was kind of like the fail-safe, essentially. She was like that emergency button.
Like they got
Things are
through.
really
Like,
going back.
like if it did not
Alright.
work out very well for the Avengers,
Right.
then of course it would have been like,
I like-
okay, now
I like
we have
your
to.
thought on it. I
Yeah,
like
you
your
need to
thought
call
process.
her now. Whereas
She closed the gap for me.
Infinity War, it's like, oh no, we need to call her. Like something's happening. So it's just, I think that she was kind of last resort.
So meeting the end of phase one and heading into the next phase, they did a hell of a bomb when it comes to the post-credit scenes in this one.
Absolutely. I mean, to be.
Squealing, I heard throughout the audience. Squealing.
Again.
And it was very subtle though too. It was just kind of like ominous in tone and everything, and then all of a sudden you just see him turn back and he just gives you a smile. And for those who aren't,
Again, that's what I'm saying. What Marvel
Yeah.
does is throw those little niches out of what's in the comic books.
Yeah.
And so,
So
you
those
see
who
that
those-
Thanos turn around. You know who he is. You know what's coming.
but it's like for those who don't know, they're like, oh, he must be someone bad. For those who do know, that we're just like, oh my god, we're about to get into some heavy stuff going on.
She just got
here.
real, son.
And then other people are like, that's Darkseid, dang.
I
remember
remember some people said
Is
that
that
too.
Darkseid?
yeah.
Like, no. It's Marvel's Darkseid, and that is Thanos.
And then I absolutely love the end credit when he's like, let's get some shawarma. And then, of course, you just
So
see
good.
them. They're just,
Shot
after
later.
a long time, they're just eating this stuff.
Evans had a mustache.
Yeah.
or a beard, and that's why he's
just
like
down
covering his
here.
face.
And I mean, Avengers is my favorite MCU movie of all the
Really?
even up to
Damn good.
up to now, and
a
like
good one.
Avengers is my number one.
I definitely say Iron Man, then Avengers, then Thor for me when it comes to like my top three, because I love
So mine
Avengers
would be
so much.
Avengers, Thor Ragnarok, then Thor. Yeah, so I like Thor a lot,
Right.
and then it goes into Doctor Strange, and then you bring all the other characters into it.
And it's funny when you think about it. During this era, the Russo brothers were still on television. They were
Yeah,
still doing
Yeah,
their
they
thing.
weren't even involved yet.
Nope.
Nope. And they ended up killing it. Ended up getting absorbed into the family that is Marvel, and are now the new spearheads of
Yes.
Avengers.
I have a
Yep.
question for you.
Yes.
Robert and I, through this adventure, had given predictions of what we think of Endgame. Do you have any thoughts or predictions that you want to share?
No. I think that.
But I feel like she's still gonna.
I know, right? I like I said before, I think that Captain America is going to die.
Sure.
And that's just me. I hope he doesn't die.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want him to die, but I think that he is going to be the one to.
You think-
I think that there needs to be a stake in order for this movie to be.
He's the Coulson.
Yeah, to be that grand scale of that. The hype and everything, that there needs to be a demise to one of the characters that we've seen for so long, and I think that is going to be
They're going to give
Captain
that
America.
one
like
two
Johnny
punch to just
Cage.
make us all
and
cry
they're
like
gonna give
crazy.
they're gonna give it to Captain America, and it's gonna be heart wrenching and it's gonna be sad. And I'm preparing myself right now because I don't want him to die, but I think he is gonna.
Think Loki's coming back?
I don't. Maybe I think I'm hoping that he comes back.
I do too, because I don't like the way they ended him in this movie in the movie.
Johnny Cage style.
Right.
But if he's dead, he's dead. Like, I'm okay with it now. Like, his story has kind of progressed to the point where it's like done. And so, but I can understand where like he didn't really like it was just that. But at the same time, it's like Loki. So I don't know. He's the god of mischief. So there is some mischief somewhere out there.
Right. I just felt his death.
And it could be
preserved
because
more.
I feel like in the comics they also had the point where he could be like he's resurrected into different people. You got
comics bar.
Lady Loki, Lady Sif, who turns into Loki, who is Loki in the comics. They have different versions of Loki in the comics because he's the god of mischief. So
We shall see which
Yes.
way they decide to go with, but the way we decided to go with was all in on the Avengers leading up to Endgame,
Yes.
which is finally here.
We just scratched the surface of the things we want to say about this.
But we will have plenty more to say in our non-spoiler review and full spoiler review discussion for Avengers Endgame, coming to you more than likely from Los Angeles, California,
Yep.
because we will be there this weekend. So, thank you guys for watching our reaction and review of the original Avengers trailer. What did you guys think of it and the music? Let us know in the comments below. You can also like and subscribe.
and do the thing on our Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Stardust.
All the social networking, join you know where they are. Keep the party, feel the party, keep the party going on our Patreon, gets us where we need to go. Thank you, Travis.
Thank you, and thank you guys for following us through this recent history of the Avengers building up to this. I'm excited. I was excited to look at these again and hear some new opinions that from you guys I didn't know. Really.
I haven't watched the trailer since back then.
So it was fun. I'm excited. We got a new theme coming out next week after this one, so
Can't wait to hear what it is, Travis. Well then, let's end it. Thank you guys so much as always.
Bye.
Now it's time to say goodbye and this party is over. Bye.